welcome back to another episode of The 12, our epic campaign of discovery and adventure across the continent of Corvair. This story will stream live on Sundays at 6 p.m. Central here on Javelin Entertainment, and if you missed the last session, check it out on the channel page or by clicking the link down in the description.
Last time, our gallant adventurers continued to revel in the glittering glow of the Ascendance Masquerade Gala, a night of masks, mystery, and more than a few magical misadventures. Clyde, ever the charming rascal, found himself deep in drink and deeper still in company of bards, strumming, strutting, and stirring up good cheer. Roland mingled like a seasoned socialite, collecting sparks of divinity with practiced grace, but missed the subtle advances of a curious young lady. But the party was not without challengers. A mysterious man in white and blue, eyes sharp and smile smooth, began to identify members of our little troupe. First Clyde and Theschault, then Boko and Roland. The revelry paused for a moment of breathtaking elegance as a bardic performance that stilled even the champagne bubbles mid-rise. And this enigmatic man invited Jasira for a second dance, one filled with grace, intrigue, and a flicker of unease. Soon after, a fellow peer revealed himself to be none other than the novice Scot, famed author and quiet observer. In a whispered spark trade, he let slip the true identity of the man in white, none other than Drago Sarhain, the very sponsor of the gala. Quick as ever, Jasira passed the information over to Roland, who seized the opportunity, and several sparks besides before the final count. Then became the formal announcement rang out. Our party was honored for their valiant role in the clearing of the clean rot from the city. The gala swelled towards its grand finale, one last dance beneath the chandeliers of light. Clyde twirled with his bardic flame, Roland was awkwardly swept into a dance by the woman he'd missed before, and Boko found Jasira again, offering his hand in steady steps. But something wasn't right. Jasira's eyes flicked with fear as she caught a golden glow among the masks around her. Boko, ever watchful, noticed an enchantment in her gaze, but before he could lead her to safety, the gala had reached its height. Roland, champion of sparks, took his bow. Boko, bearer of the most favors, was chosen to light the sacred flame, revealing with noble pride the armor of the hospice beneath his finery. The flame burst forth, glorious and bright, but then a tremor, a shock, a distant explosion. A tower across the skyline erupted in smoke and sickly green fire, curling skyward into an unmistakable shape of a reptilian hand. Is this hand a symbol, a summoning, or a sign? Is the fire linked to the lighting of the flame, or was this night of celebration always destined to end in chaos? Let's tune in and find out.
As we rejoin our story here, and I get used to these things once more. When we had last left off, it had been at this climax, and you all were greeted with this heavy, impactful explosion that rocketed the skyline. Cheers of awe suddenly turned to screams of terror. As you all experience this shockwave that ripples across the city, there is, from the hearts of some burning ruin, the fire that engulfs the night sky, and this colossal form made of smoke and flame that unfurls itself in front of you all. This hand of green reptilian skin, made entirely of this green smoke, just grasps itself, twists, and disperses with the rest of the smoke into the night. Guests scream, masks fall, flame bearers reach for one another, magic wands ripple and shatter across the gala hall. Some guests try to flee, others stand frozen, locked between awe and terror, and this once holy fire now casts these darkened shadows on the marble floor. Everyone has erupted into chaos, and though some are trying to regain the composure, no one is confident anymore in their safety. What are you all doing?
Boko is still standing with Drago, isn't he?
Yes, you're right upon the top, and Drago has kind of turned and shifted towards the rest of this crowd who is all in chaos and screams and is trying to call out just, people, please, coordinate. We need to keep some composure here. We are safe in this place. But you can even, as the words come out, there is just this hesitation where even he doesn't seem to totally believe that.
Does he have any rings or necklaces or jewelry on?
Yeah, he certainly has some ornamental rings and has the armbands on both arms from the Sparks of Divinity.
I was probably going to take those off, though. I just want to see if there are any, like, signet rings or anything, and using my affinity for creation, I want to see if I can very quickly in this proximity take a mental picture of one, familiarize myself with it in case I have to try to locate him. I can try to locate this object.
Sure, give me an investigation check.
In the heat of the moment while all this is going on.
Tis kind of a cool moment.
It's difficult to catch much detail as a lot of these are ornamental rings and they don't have large like signets or symbols. However, there is one that you've seen before in other places across this hall and throughout this venue and throughout this day. And that is the symbol of the silver flame. It is just a basic silver diamond with a flame symbol upon it.
And then Boko will step forward and grab his wrist and he'll say, "Explain yourself."
I'm sorry?
Is the flame in here burning green as well?
No.
Holding on to Drago, Boko's going to turn around and look for the rest of his party.
Yeah. I'll say as this explosion and chaos is happening, I do need Jasira to go ahead and give me a wisdom saving throw.
Let's see. Wisdom save.
Oh no.
All right, and then I
not
need
great.
Theschault to go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw.
Ooh.
Ooh.
You guys aren't within 30 feet of me, are you?
All right, let's see.
I think it'd be pushing it in here with where you were at. Yeah.
Probably.
Ooh.
So,
I imagine.
I'm actually probably gonna flash a genius that. Please give me at least something here. Which will put it at 12.
Nice.
When you or another creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes an ability check or saving throw.
Can I use it for myself, or does this happen
So-
to like?
In theory, you could use it for yourself. However, I'm trying to think situationally what this
I mean,
would look like.
I don't have. Okay.
And I think here, what you see in this, so what happens is this eruption, and this chaos begins, and immediately the fear that is already present in Jasira just takes hold, and she begins to rush away. And in this moment, Theschault, she slips from your grasp, but as you try to take this, pushing through with your own flash of genius into this, you're able to kind of spin around and at least track her as she begins to move and try and follow her at a quick pace. So she's out of your grasp, but you haven't lost her in this crowd and chaos.
Works for me.
I'll say we'll turn it over then to Roland. Roland, as you were kind of also on the stage off to the side as this happened, how are you responding?
Unfortunately, the one time he actually steps on the stage and everything blows up.
You fool.
He doesn't want to be associated with any of this panic, so he's just disappearing back into the crowd.
All right, give me a stealth check.
With possibly a prayer for
Sure.
guidance. Oh, son of a bitch, wrong button. I reloaded the tab. Hold please, I'm getting my sheet open.
No worries. I apparently don't have the tree. Okay, well.
There we are. Oh, that's terrible. 18.
All right, and let me put this into our Everon Lord. Does this paste in nicely? No, of course it doesn't. Okay. Yeah. Roland, as you begin to blend into the crowd as best you can, you're kind of thinking exactly that. Just like, of course, this would happen now. Like the one time I'm not at the top of my game, of course, that's when things turn out like this. And you do your best that you can to blend and disappear, like you so often have. For Rhea and Rennie, the two of you had been kind of in the mix of the celebration. How are you responding to this strange conflagration and the chaos that comes after?
Perhaps panic. Like small panic, but panic nonetheless.
And what does that look like for Rennie?
I mean, I'm gonna kind of like, wait, what the fuck is going on?
Rhea will grab Rennie so that he doesn't panic and look for a path to a good vantage point. If there's a way to go up, she wants to go up, preferably towards a window.
Yeah, give me a perception check. There's multiple floors in this building.
Up to a window, maybe out to a roof eventually, but we're headed up.
Yeah, you can give me perception or survival. I think both would work.
Ooh. I'm gonna do perception.
I'm definitely helping here, right?
Sure. Yeah, you can roll with
panicking.
Vinny. Well, yeah, I guess that's fair. So maybe not. Okay.
More of a smart ass.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But yeah, with that 22, you've already scoped out much of this building just with your natural background. And you immediately begin to lead him to a set of stairs, getting up to a higher level and a large window in one of the side rooms that kind of looks out into the city. And if there were any people in here, there are no longer. They are long since gone. And you kind of glimpse out, and there's still this kind of distant smoke that is billowing up over the horizon. It's like just past sunrise, and so it is dark, but there are still numerous lights within the city. And you can see emergency arcane sigils lighting up in different areas. You can see the dark shadows of the Griffin Riders that protect the city kind of in response already. What else? Is there something else that you're looking for?
Just looking, the idea of going up was that we could see out the window to what's going on in the city and down to the party to see what's happening there and just keep an eye on people.
Yeah. Between the two of you, you kind of keep close enough to be able to watch what's happening across the city, and there's still a balcony nearby where you can see kind of the crowd that is kind of just this densely packed group that is rushing towards entrances, trying to get out, trying to get home, trying to check on loved ones, trying to just find some semblance of safety and security, and feeling vulnerable. And for Clyde, you had been standing beside this bardic woman who you had been dancing with. How is Clyde responding when this impact first hits? Oh, I'm just blind. I forgot. No, Adam wasn't here. I was trying to cover my bases. Holy smokes. Oh, it's just one of those nights, guys. We'll say then for now that Clyde disappears in the chaos of the crowd as well. So Jasira, as you begin to kind of rush and maneuver through the crowd, this is going to be kind of a little bit of a contested skill check here. I'd like you to make me a stealth or acrobatics check. And well, let's go ahead and roll that first.
Okay. I think my stealth might be better now because of the dress.
Indeed.
So I think it'll be stealth +1 if I recall correctly.
I think so.
Ooh, not good.
Jasira too.
What was that, Boko?
I'm gonna try going after Jasira too if I see that the
Yeah.
Schalt is no longer holding on to her.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute here.
Damn, Drago
For
distracted me.
the Schalt, how are you trying to keep up with Jasira, who you know is already kind of in a flight mentality?
Yeah, she is definitely very fast. Well, shoot. I think all I have right now is the undersuit actually. So I don't have the full mech suit, which I probably need to retrieve now that I think about it. She wouldn't happen to be going the same direction, would she?
Even if she happened to be, it seems like everybody's trying to get to exits.
Right.
It's gonna take you a little bit to get into the armor.
Yeah, right. Shoot. Dang it, yeah, she's already taken off. I guess I'll try to call out to her. Just like see if I can just touch base for a minute before I do that. Because I'm kind of like, yeah, I lose a lot without the mech. Yeah, I'll probably try and stop her, and if she just keeps taking off, I may have to just divert and go grab my armor.
Yeah, give me a general charisma check right now.
Right on. It's not great.
You try and call out, just kind of screaming out, Jasira, trying to get through to her, but whatever is going on with her mind, it is messing her up, and she's weaving through the individuals quickly right now.
So just to Jasira, dang it. So I suppose my next step then, if I'm basically the losers, I'm gonna go look to go get armed up so that I can hopefully defend people against whatever this is.
Yeah. So you begin to rush over, and you see numerous other people having the same idea, where they had left off their weapons and equipment, trying to be prepared for whatever is happening. Boko, as you kind of give this quick glance to Drago and kind of call out to him before looking over, you see that the crowds have covered the floor and it is chaos everywhere. You begin to rush over to where you left Theschault and Jasira, and they're both gone.
Fuck. Are there any pillars nearby?
Yeah. There are these mirror-covered pillars.
I'm gonna burn an action and switch my chimeric bonus from sleight of hand to perception.
Okay.
I'm gonna burn a spell slot.
Ooh.
And I am going to ascend the nearest pillar I can to get a better vantage point and see if I can get an eye on Jasira.
All right. As you begin to climb up onto one of these pillars, Jasira, go ahead and give me another stealth check, and Boko, you can give me that perception check.
Okie dokie. So that'll be a 15.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Mm.
Boko, you clamber up one of these pillars, and just scanning, looking, you know what Jasira was wearing, and you find this glint of a flame-like mask just as it is heading out one of these exits from the building. And more than that, you can
90 feet.
You can catch in this just brief moment that through the chaos and the movement of the people in this crowd, there are some that are moving with more purpose, and you see an individual that is certainly moving after that direction of Jasira as well.
That individual right there, I am going to focus on the new arcane eye that I have, and I'm going to mark him.
Ooh. You choose a creature that you
Oh,
can
that's
see within
fucking cool.
range. Ooh, is it within 90 feet?
Please.
Oh gosh. Okay, roll me.
A D69.
What do we want to do this?
A D100 for how many feet away he is.
I was thinking something like that. I think
Be
go
the one
ahead
time
and
he ever
roll
hits a
me.
10% chance on a D100.
A D100 plus 20.
I
plus
think
30?
this is just because we've got roll 20 and we can do this. Go ahead and roll me a D250 because this hall is about 250 feet long, and so your whatever you roll will be your distance.
I believe.
Okay.
Hey yo!
Nice.
Okay.
Good thing it was 90 and not
Yeah.
60.
That would have
If it
been
was 60,
hilarious.
I would be so upset.
It's so funny.
I would not. I would leap off of this pillar.
Goodness, that would be too good. Yeah, they are within range. You choose a creature, and until the spell ends, you have advantage on perception checks and survival checks made to find it. Okay, so you don't really get a sense of who or what this is yet, but you are able to latch some magic onto them. Oh, wait. A creature whose blood you can see.
Wait.
Is that supposed to be there? Because they definitely,
Oh.
yeah, the target says a
Oh.
creature whose blood you can see, and this definitely doesn't have visible blood. Is this, what is
Also,
this on?
blood is capitalized.
I
Where
don't
the heck does that
know.
come
I
from?
dragged this in.
Is this just
I don't know
supposed
if
to be
I-
Hunter's Mark?
This is the specific one from the Arcane Eye. I don't know if that was-
Maybe it is. Let me see.
I don't know if I dragged it in from the new 1D&D or not.
Okay,
Let me check.
Arcane Eye. You can cast the following spells using the Oculus, but can only target creatures whose blood you can see. Yeah, so it does have that specification. But
Huh.
Gotta
is
be
that...
cut first.
Roland will shoot him.
Make him bleed.
Ah.
Maybe he's got a hangnail. Roll another D100.
Well.
Cast the spell again.
Worth a shot.
It is. I'm trying to remember my mindset whenever I put that in there, but it's definitely in there. So I'm gonna save. Well, go ahead and give me one more check here. Go ahead and give me. This will be an intelligence saving throw to try and push beyond the natural limits of this enchantment.
Ooh. X-ray vision.
I mean, he
looking
is in
into
close
his
proximity
blood.
to Jasira, so his nose may be bleeding for one reason or another.
David.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll say you were successful in landing this, but go ahead and roll me, or actually I'm gonna roll this one. Where's my dice?
So this person has some kind of magical enchantment on him.
Oof. As you push beyond the natural bounds of your construct nature, you feel it beginning to break and to strain. And you're going to take 11 points of damage, 6 points of, I guess this would be bludgeoning, and 5 points of psychic.
Ooh. I don't. £11 Okay, all right. I'm getting used to this new form.
Yeah, but you do have this spell latched onto this individual for now.
I'm gonna immediately try to find Roland.
Okay. Roland, what have you been doing as you've been blended into the crowd here?
I guess since everyone around is kind of panicking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least
So
I am.
he'd be looking for the other folks in the party and trying to get them out. Try and save who he can, I guess.
All right.
But
trying to get everybody
He
together.
doesn't want us attached to this.
Yes. So let's start out. So you can go 3 different ways with this. We'll say you can either rely on history to remember where people were. You can rely on insight to try and understand where they might go, or you can rely on perception to see where they are at.
I think it makes a lot of sense for Roland to just like remember where he last saw everything and then check each of those places.
Yeah.
That is really sick.
Average 21.
Yeah, and you have been keeping tabs on everyone throughout the night. You know that Clyde was out on the dance floor or just off of it, with Rennie and Rhea kind of close by. You know that Boko had taken Jasira off to the side with Theschault and then gone to the stage right after you. You saw him on the stage and saw him kind of dash into the crowd as you were kind of blending into the crowd. But other than that, are you kind of headed in the direction of where the dance floor was at, off to the corner where Jasira was?
Who did I see alone?
Nobody was alone.
Alone as in like without another member of the party.
Well, yes, nobody was alone without any other members of the party. It was Theschault and Jasira, and then it was Rennie, Rhea, Clyde.
Boko?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess Boko would be by himself, but you actively saw him on the stage and then rush into the crowd towards where Jasira had been.
Boko alone and rushing is a recipe for disaster. I'm going to follow Boko.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't have a defense.
Kind of tracks.
So, as you begin to kind of rush after where Boko is, Boko, you looking for Roland, it's not too difficult for the two of you to find each other, even in this chaos moving around you all.
Boko has something very interesting he wants to show Roland.
No,
Roland,
not in public.
Boko goes.
It's a full moon.
Boko goes. Roland, draw your weapon.
Not in public, Boko. Sorry. His weapon is his like woodland staff that has been designed around the gun, so he's literally just going to like like it's already out.
Boko is going to very quickly locate Roland's staff. And using an action, Boko is going to reach into his eye, remove the arcane eye, place it on the scope, and leverage his once per day ability to make a reckless modification.
Oh god.
And he is
recklessly modifying David's equipment.
I love this.
Boko is going to try to, as the arcane eye fuses in this very visceral way to the scope, Boko is going to place the weapon into Roland's hands, and he's going to say, "Find him." Ooh! Boko's going to point him towards the door and shove him.
That guy.
Roland, just go ahead and give me a perception or survival check. At advantage.
Oh, man.
You have 1 hour.
Is it 1 or is it 8?
Just 1. That's how long that its modification will last before it
Modification.
falls apart.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. And then I have
use
to
my eye.
catch your eye.
I love this.
Let's do perception since he gave me an eye.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah, you kind of take this moment and are like, okay, what is he asking for? And kind of just looking at what he fused, you kind of look over towards it and begin to kind of scan a little bit. And you kind of see a sort of flash. It's not constant and it's not stable, but there is something that the eye is reacting to through your scope. And you kind of bring your head up to get a better look through this, and begin to kind of scan as you see this arcane pulse kind of through the crowd, as it's getting further and further away.
I'll follow and drag Boko with me. Because in an hour, I'm gonna need him to be able to unfuck what he did to my gun.
All right. Rhea and Rennie, from the top here, as you guys are peering down, you catch sight of Boko kind of race from the stage, and connect up with Roland and kind of keeping an eye on the two of them. They're acting a little bit erratically as they begin to move towards the edge, where these crowds are by the exit.
Would an insight check let us intuit what they're doing and see if we can help in any way?
I think just knowing who they are and looking at them, you can see that there is some purpose behind them. If you would like to try and understand more about what that purpose is, you certainly can make an insight check.
Oh, if we can kind of figure out what they're doing, and we know that they're heading that way, they're chasing somebody, they're looking to meet up with somebody, something like that.
Yeah, and I'll also say that from your perch above, you also notice that some of the individuals who have already gotten gear have also taken notice of the stance that Roland is taking and seem to be responding protectively, almost worried that it might be something aggressive. And so you could also run interference for Roland as well if you wanted to.
Yeah, working a crowd isn't really his talent.
Especially not when you're holding a gun, which I know it doesn't look like a gun, but you're still holding a staff like this.
He's currently working a staff right now, guys. Yeah. Which is his talent.
And everyone is on edge.
Wow. That's talent, Roland.
But yeah, so it's up to you all if you want to.
Are we finished?
Not yet.
No. We're all on edge. We're not.
Rhea, how do you want to help?
Do they look like they're moving to exit this building?
Right now, it's kind of difficult to tell what they're trying to do, but they are definitely moving towards an exit, yes.
Do we see what they're chasing by chance?
No. You don't even
what
necessarily
if we try
know
and
that
go
they're
through
chasing
the window
yet.
And come out on the other side of the building?
Let's do it. I've got one spell that works from far away, and I now know I'm magic. So I've got one thing I might be able to actually help with. But we need to figure out what he's trying to find.
Yeah, so do you want to chase after them and go down through the crowd, or do you want to go out and around?
Let's stay up above. We do better from up here. Let's go up around. Is it like you could follow like a balcony or something and see them? Would that make sense? Do you think? Do you follow?
There is a balcony on the inside. You guys are at a window to the outside. So if you want to get outside, you'd have to break a window or find another way out. If you're trying to get down to them, you could just hop the balcony or go down the stairs.
Huh. Because if we go down the stairs, we're now behind them. Mm-hmm. They're faster than us. We are both small. That's not going to work. Let's see if we can find a way to get out and around so we can, like, head them off. Do we remember, did we walk around up here at all? Was there a way up and out or onto a roof that we saw or anything like that?
Yeah, I'll say with this purpose, Rennie, if you and Rhea together, if one of you wants to give me an investigation check at advantage, trying to find a quick exit where that might align you closely with where they would pop out.
I will help you. Rhea, throw it. Let's see it.
Are you sure you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Give me an investigation at advantage.
Okay.
So you've scoped out kind of the areas closest to the stairs, but the more that you kind of get further out to the edges of this building, the less familiar you are. And so you do eventually find a way to, oh gosh, you do eventually find an exit to this building, but it's not quite in alignment to where they were kind of headed. And it's going to take you some time to get around this and through the crowd. In the meantime,
We'll just have to run.
exactly.
I guess we're zooming.
In the meantime, Roland and Boko, as you are moving forward, kind of with Roland leading the way. Roland, I do need you to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, yay. Is this going to be the walking around with the long, like, wrapping paper tube out and then bonk? Dexterity save.
Hope you're better at these than I am.
16. Boko, as you're following behind Roland, there is suddenly just this shimmering magic between the two of you, and this what looks like a sphere, this bubble, just wraps around Roland suddenly, and he is just encased in this magical bubble, for lack of any better term, just right in front of you. And you can hear shouts coming from the side, and you see this blue-robed individual, kind of shorter of stature, who has this wand out and pointed in Roland's direction, having just cast a spell.
In a brief moment, does this look like a concentration spell?
Most of these types of spells, you imagine, are concentration, just from your natural magical affinity. If you want to make me an Arcana check to be sure, you could.
Go poke
That's
him
close
with a
enough.
needle.
I look directly at this person and I run straight for them.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Remember, Boko, you only have to do 1 point of damage to force a save.
It's either 10 or half the damage.
Flick their face.
So, either I have to do 1 point or more than 20.
So, Boko, as you are kind of rushing now, kind of after this spell has wrapped around Roland, you begin to rush towards this small dwarven robed figure. You kind of head like 30 feet or so, kind of beelining it towards him, as he is was trying to close the distance and is now slowing a little bit. And you see this just tall figure, this orcish figure, no longer has a mask, but has just this massive greatsword in hand, and kind of steps in front of the mage, kind of holds the sword out defensively, prepared for you to arrive.
What is this wizard wearing?
He's wearing just simple blue robes at the moment. He was
Any
masked and is in
khakis?
party garb, but the mask is gone now.
Given that this is kind of a fancy party, is he wearing any jewelry?
Heat metal and run. Timeless
Um,
tactic.
he has... I would say that he does have some ornamental jewelry on. Most of these people in here have some sort of rings, but he doesn't seem to have any signet rings or identifying things. But I'd say that he is wearing some embellishment, whether it's bracelets or rings or something, if you're looking for metal.
Whatever the hardest thing to get off is, stopping short maybe 20 feet of this giant greatsword guy, I'm just gonna look down the barrel at this guy and cast heat metal.
Yeah, as you begin to send out this spell, he just turns to you, and with a flip of the wand, you see as your spell shatters in the air.
That doesn't necessarily target me, does it?
No, this just seems to be a counter spell.
But does it target me or does it target the spell?
I think it does. I think it's one creature you can see within range casting a spell.
I think it is. I don't know.
3rd level counter spell, 1 reaction.
It matters. It's very important.
You attempt to interrupt a creature in the process of casting a spell. 1 reaction which you take when you see a creature within 60 feet of you casting a spell.
Okay. As I become the target of this spell, Boko's chest begins to open up, and a flash of light from the true heart within, I'm going to negate the spell and absorb its energy.
Ooh.
Oh.
So you watch as this mage goes to send out this emanation of anti-magic towards you, and you just kind of expand your chest out and it glows for a moment, and the spell is just pulled in under this blue glow that intensifies. And you hear him call out towards the orc, "Leopold, don't let them leave." And for now, we're going to turn the page back towards where Jasira is rushing through. Jasira, yeah.
Bree is learning once again to never attend one of your parties.
Yeah, your parties don't go very well for me. That's fine.
I mean, this was not all intended.
I'm not disintegrated yet, so it's okay.
That's true.
I'm not disintegrated yet, so it's okay so far.
Jasira, as you are maneuvering through the crowd, go ahead and give me, well, first, as this fear has kind of latched into Jasira's mind, this just knowledge that she's not safe, that someone is coming after her, that she's seen this gilded man's mask, she knows that she's being hunted. How is she responding? What is she thinking? Where would she go?
Knowing everyone else that she cares about is currently at this party, she would know not to go to our little storefront, so... Gosh. Honestly, I think she might just go to towards the hospice right now. Like, just the general direction.
Okay.
Assuming... in her mind, like, that's where they have allies. They may not be there, but like that's where allies are, so that's where she's gonna run.
So give me.
But it's very quick and non-thinking, automatic.
Yeah, give me another stealth or acrobatics check here, as you've now made it out of the building and into these streets, but they are packed and crowded with people. Not only is it
I'm going to use my inspiration on that.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, not only is it packed with the people from the gala, but also other people from the nearby casino and other places are pouring out into the streets. And you are on the far edge of the city. A city's width away from the hospice right now. But you do your best to kind of navigate and continue pushing through the streets, dipping and dodging through the different people as you press further. We'll say at this point, Clyde, you had been just caught in the chaos as this explosion had ruptured a far building. Everyone began to move for safety and security, oftentimes moving to the streets. There were some cries, there was chaos, and things have dissolved quickly. The party has split up into different directions, and you were kind of pulled along by this bard who is trying to get somewhere safe, and hasn't really kind of stopped to think yet. She's just moving. How is Clyde reacting to this explosion?
Well, Clyde is now no longer drunk and is going to do everything he can to get away from said explosion.
All right, so for now, just rushing with the bard that you're with?
Yeah, Clyde's fine with staying with the bard. He doesn't want to explode.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you
He
just
knows
try
when
to
there's
get
a time
out.
to leave the party.
Yeah, you're just trying to get out for now. and we'll kind of bring it back then, as Rennie and Rhea, you two had hopped into the street and been wading through people trying to get back to where you knew Boko and Roland would get out. Go ahead and one of the two of you either make me a survival check or to kind of navigate through all these people and get to where you're trying to go, or give me a persuasion check, either of intimidation or persuasion, to try and get them to move out of your path.
Oh, I will totally do this. I am going to persuade everybody. Be like, run in terror in the other direction, get out of my way, terror coming through, and I am going to be persuasive.
Give me that persuasion
Fuck
check.
off in that direction, please.
Here coming through.
Whew.
Nat 20. Holy shit, Joe.
Hey! Directing the crowd that way.
There was an immense amount of respect earned that day.
All right, and then Joe, go ahead and roll me a d6. You're looking for either an odd or an even number.
So all of them?
Yeah, but one is one thing, one is another. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't told you which is which yet. So
it's
as
a coin
you
flip.
you begin to but as you begin to kind of get up onto a box and kind of direct traffic, kind of moving people with this just heavy voice, the crowd just listens to you and responds. They're just looking for someone to take control in this moment and provide them some sense of order, and they quickly begin to move in the directions that you kind of direct, allowing Rhea to have a clean path directly to the entrance where you had seen kind of Boko and Roland heading for, but they're not there. And as the two of you kind of arrive, Rhea, you're there first, and you see kind of Roland right on the other side in this kind of semi-transparent bubble, arcane bubble, and Boko just on the opposite side facing off against two individuals. There may be like Boko is probably about 100 feet from you at this point. Roland maybe about like 60. And I'll say also at the same time, well, actually, let's pause there. As you two kind of come to this doorway and see this, is there anything that you two are trying to do?
So, Boko's in a bubble, and there's somebody pointing at him and somebody else with him.
Roland's in a bubble. Boko is rushing towards two figures, one with a wand and one with a greatsword, who are kind of look more defensive.
How far are those figures away from me?
Those two are probably at like 120 feet or so.
Perfect! I have a spell that works 120 feet away, and I'm going to try and distract them.
Okay.
Let's throw a hypnotic pattern at them. Let's give them that at disadvantage, by the way.
Alright.
So I'll make my charisma save. I make my charisma save.
And Rhea, what are you doing in this moment as you come around and see
I
just this
can't
chaos?
reach anyone, but can I try to use the chaos as some cover to get closer?
Yeah, give
Can't
me a
reach anyone,
stealth
it's
check.
okay, we can get you a stool.
Brutal. Yeah, you begin to dive along the shadows, trying to use the pillars for cover as you try getting in closer. And on the opposite side, Theschault, as you kind of maneuvered over and are trying to get into your armor, you see all this happening and are just moving faster and faster, trying to will your armor on quickly. And it's not slow, but it's slower than you want. And you see this bubble come up around Roland. You see Boko kind of rush towards this other figure and absorb some sort of magic before you finally get this armor on and can respond. You're a good probably 150 feet away from this right now. What are you trying to do to close that distance or to do anything else?
All right. Well, yeah. If that's all going 150 feet. If anything, I want to do desperation type stuff. Probably not. I'm just gonna take off full speed. Just try and people have cleared out because already, hopefully. So hopefully going away from some of this, so there's less crowd to get around.
Yeah, the crowd has dispersed. This is kind of happening right on the edge of the building. Most of the crowd is out into the streets by this point.
Okay. So yeah, just gonna start just full-on sprint running towards
Sprinting.
it.
All
So
right.
I'm actually suited up.
Okay, as you begin
Team-powered
to dash over in that direction, Boko will come over to you as you see these figures who are, again, looking more to stop what they sense to be aggression, and you have just been annihilating everything that they were trying to do. As you continue to close the gap on them, they're only about 20 feet away from you. What are you trying to do?
Has that bubble gone down yet?
Oh, I do need to roll for the heat metal. Let's see. If the creature's holding or wearing an object and takes damage from. Okay, so we'll say con save. All right, so we'll say go ahead and roll me 2d8 fire damage the one time, and he's going to try and get this thing off. Okay, 8 points. Yeah, no problem on holding concentration there.
That means I have to do more damage, Roland.
No, you just need to do like 10 iterations of 1 point of damage in the same round.
So yeah, you see one of the mage figure is trying to get off the jewelry that you have connected with the heat metal, and the tall orc figure is just holding this gleaming two-handed greatsword in between the path between you and the mage.
Seeing that now there's a greatsword involved, Boko's gonna reach into the bag of holding, pull out his shield, and use an action to strap it onto his arm.
All right, you just strap up.
A good plan.
A little bit more intimidating than it sounds, because it's a giant dragon bone shield that's sparking with electricity.
Do you hold eye contact the whole time?
Everyone's on edge, so Boko straps on.
If there's one thing that Boko can do, it is not blink.
Are you trying to close the distance or just strapping on the shield for now?
I'm just strapping on the shield. I'm keeping I'll circle around to try to keep within 30 feet of the wizard without walking into the range of Mr. Greatsword guy.
Okay. And Roland, you are suddenly inside this bubble. How are you reacting?
I guess
Did
we're
they
gonna try
Save
and...
that, or did they pass that save by chance?
We'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
Rainy.
Like we didn't see them do something though.
No, they didn't respond to it.
Got it.
I guess trying to figure out what the fuck this bubble is and pop it if I can.
Are you trying to just like bash your rifle into it? How are we trying to pop it here?
Do I know the spell? Can I recognize it? Have I heard of it? Have I read about it?
If you want to make me an Arcana check, you certainly can.
Yes, I will definitely go for that.
Yeah, you're well read enough on many of the common spells that are out there. You recognize that this is likely some sort of resilient sphere or something akin to it, and know that it's going to be very difficult to actually deal damage to this. And you are more or less trapped until someone can let you out, or until about a minute passes.
What can you do for 1 minute?
And I'll say, with a 22, this is some sort of force-like spell, so things like disintegration do end it, but that's about the extent of the magic that you would need. However, it is tangible and can be moved, but it is difficult.
Well, then,
Roland, the angry hamster.
I was about to say, about my only option is to start hamster balling this bitch. So, because there's nothing I can set up in here that's gonna help. Yeah.
Maintain eye contact with the same person Boko is.
Make him go cross-eyed. Yeah, I'm gonna try and hamster ball.
All right.
Or at least, or actually, no, first off,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try and whatever it is that Boko gave me as a tracking device, I'm gonna see if I can still track through the ball.
Okay, give me a perception check at advantage.
And I'll burn my action for guidance if we're in pseudo initiative.
Okay. It is pseudo to the maximum extent of pseudo. You might even call it pseudo. Looking through,
I missed that familiar.
trying to look through this sphere. Let me see. This is transparent, right? Shimmering force. Yeah, I think so. You look up through the scope and you try to latch on to any sort of that pulsing, and it seems that you are at either a range or some physical impasse is blocked and you're not catching any of that magical sight at this moment. And so you kind of begin to push and try and roll towards the door in this hamster ball.
Yep.
Yeah, so Rennie and Rhea, as the two of you rush in, Rennie, you begin to cast a spell, and they can't react to it, both due to range and already burning the reaction. But as this spell kind of emanates around the two of them, it doesn't seem to have any effect. And just being aware of the connection of the magic, you know that these individuals, and probably many individuals here, probably have wards or items against charm at an event like this.
DM, can I roll a perception to see if I noticed Rennie clear the way of everyone?
What's your passive perception?
12.
12. Roll me just a d20, and I'll say on 12 or higher you do.
No, he's going with that bard.
You're just taking off for now. Goodness.
See you guys back at the shop.
Yeah. So as all of you are kind of still holding off in this tense stalemate for now, as Roland is rolling away, that brings us back to Rennie and Rhea. Rhea, you're trying to close this distance. I'd say you're probably around like 60 feet away from these figures in Boko at this point. Rennie, if you had continued moving in, are around 90 feet from these figures, about close to where Roland is.
Sounds like percussive distraction it is. Let's get him. And I will give Rhea help and a bardic inspiration.
Okay.
So, Sammy, you've got a D8 and a help, so you can blast at advantage.
And Rhea, as you see these figures kind of in this defensive stalemate with Boko right now, what are you doing?
So I'm still 60 feet away.
About that, yeah.
Do you have anything at range? Do you have like a bow or something?
Doing much.
And don't forget
No,
that rogues do have the bonus action dash, and so if you wanted to use movement and dash, you could close that 60 feet.
That's true.
And
then I would just get one stab in.
You get one stab, it's still an advantage because of your help, and you can add a D8 if you need to hit.
Okay, fair enough. And there were two figures fighting Boko.
There's two figures near Boko. So there's one who has this great sword out who kind of looks like he's defending a mage who you assume is the one who cast the spell on Roland.
Okay. So I will try to run up and hit him. At least I'll be a distraction. If nothing else.
Which one are you trying to hit?
The one that I think cast a spell.
Okay. So you begin
I
to
am currently serving as the distraction, so Rhea can stab.
Yeah. And Rhea, with that 24 stealth, go ahead and give me another stealth check. Here, as you're just trying to kind of use the cover that you already have to rush in. And yeah, I'll say that you get a strike off on this mage before you're noticed. So go ahead and roll me that attack roll.
Woohoo!
Stab him right in the leg.
Gotta remember what my. Did I have 2 of them in here?
He says keep them from leaving, and then gets a
Cut his Achilles.
Just here. Direction. Just here to be annoying.
Yeah,
We are annoying.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, as you just slice into the Achilles of this mage as he drops down, and we'll see if that does it. Let's see. Oh, we rolled both. Let's see, what is that? That's 11, 22, and is that? Yeah, it is. Okay, 11, 22, 36. So half of that is 15, 18.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think that's still gonna pass. Whew. That was a heck of a hit though. So yeah, you carve into this mage's Achilles, but then as you have revealed yourself, the orc beside kind of leans over and slices down with the greatsword. That's gonna hit. And
You can't add bardic inspiration to armor, can you?
no, not in this game. Does an 18 hit, Rhea?
Oh yeah.
Alrighty. Then let's see. On this first strike, you're going to take 8.
Wait, was he holding his action?
Yeah.
He only gets to take 1 strike, right?
I mean, technically by the rules, but I've never done that. We've always held the whole action because I think that's silly.
Fine.
I did find that
concur.
rules as written the other day, but my entire D&D career I've used it the other way, and I'm gonna still use it the other way because that's
Yeah, no,
bonkers. What's the
I'm
point of
totally
holding your
with you.
action then?
point.
So sorry, math in my head.
Well-
13.
We can homebrew for the players, but NPCs should do rules as written.
Okay, so you're gonna take 13 points of slashing damage, and you're going to take 12. 17 points of radiant damage as this blade just alights in light and comes crashing down on the first swing. And the second one, I already rolled for that. The second one, you're going to take 14 points of slashing damage.
Oh my gosh.
And 17 points of
The
radiance.
next number. I'm gonna take a nap.
Are you just out?
I have 50 points.
So Rhea comes up, stabs this mage's Achilles, and then just gets voom, voom, as she just drops down to the ground, unmoving.
I underestimated that guy. That's on me.
I had initially come into this combat hoping to save some resources. That idea has now gone out the window.
Also, Austin, what is it with you and one-shotting Sam's character in the first turn?
Y'all
I
aren't
had
supposed
a
to
good
fight
run with
these
this
two,
one.
but yeah, I had a good run.
Technically, that one was
10
two
minutes.
shot, but
You're right, we were supposed to leave Roland here in the hamster ball.
All right. And now we're gonna make an important initiative roll. Okay,
Uh-oh.
cool. So at this point, as Rhea just rushes in, makes a stab, and gets cut down by this other figure. Drago Sarhane comes rushing in and just calling out, friends, please stop. There is a misunderstanding. And he's going to try and cast a spell. And I don't actually know if this is going to help, but we're going to try it anyway because he doesn't know. So for everybody everybody but Rennie, and Roland, I need you guys to make me a charisma saving throw unless you happen to have any immunity to charm or frighten.
I'm going to assume Clyde also is not going to get hit by that.
Yeah, Clyde and Jasira are out of this as well. So really, it's only Boko, Rhea, and...
Ooh, that is a 3.
And the 2 individuals.
I don't like
Okay,
my
so
odds.
I'm still
with the
making it there.
charisma
Good. I'm
saving
out of
throw while
range.
passed
Yes,
out.
Theschault, you're out of range as well.
Excellent. The only time I'm glad I'm not in the middle of everything.
Okay, so both Rhea and Boko are under the effects of a calm emotion spell. And this spell, let's see, you become indifferent about creatures of your choice that you were previously hostile towards. And so immediately that kind of intensity of the battle, even the context of the what seemed like attacks, were attacks towards Rhea, are suddenly dimmed down, and Drago immediately upon casting that spell moves over and places their hands onto where Rhea is. And Rhea, you're going to get 4, 8, 18 points of healing to your stamina.
What? Sweet.
And so you're still prone on the ground next to this individual, but now Drago is above you, kind of with a hand still on your shoulder as this healing energy is surging to get you back towards consciousness.
I am dazed and confused, but I give a thumbs up.
And as this is kind of coming to this moment, still with these NPC turn here, this mage kind of looks over, just, Drago, we were trying to keep them, they look like they were about to do quiet. These are our guests. I know you do not know them yet, but they, I can vouch for them. I'm sure this is all some misunderstanding, that we should talk out without aggression. And they're kind of bickering back and forth quickly in this moment, as you all will get to react in a moment. But before that, Rhea, or Jasira, as you're maneuvering through the streets, trying to get back towards the hospice, you've managed to leave the crowds behind from your speed. You're in the darkened streets. How are you responding? How are you reacting now that you are alone and yet still feel watched?
If she genuinely believes that she's alone, we're gonna try and do a quick little scope, try and see if she can see any more of that glinting gold.
Yeah, give me that perception check.
Heavy breathing, clearly anxious. Perception.
Ooh.
Can't be sneaky, but I can perceive.
You dash into kind of the shadows, believing you're alone, and you see this figure, almost kind of cloaked from this for now, that kind of is running around. You can see them kind of turning, looking. They don't seem to see you, but you know, and you kind of feel, and just from the fear inside of you, that this person had to have been following you, that you need to lose them, that there's someone dangerous.
Alrighty, let's go invisible.
All right, and I'll say with that 24, you see this hooded figure has this kind of let's see, where has this kind of paleness to their skin. where they almost look ghostly in a way. It's this woman just with this skin paler than yours and this kind of short black hair that kind of comes just past her ears, and she's kind of turning this way and that looking for something, and you know that this person is hunting you, trying to get at you, and you go invisible and kind of continue into the streets trying to lose them again.
That's what I'm saying. Paler than me? What the fuck?
Cove?
That was my first thought, but he didn't say with a limp. I was waiting for him to say she walked out with a limp.
Well, and
She has
the
a
black
new
hair's
leg.
throwing. Well, and black hair's throwing me too.
Wasn't it like a weird tentacle? You'd have a limp with a weird tentacle.
It was an
It was.
eel.
It was.
You'd have a limp.
The ghost
An
is with
eel
the
is
most
basically a weird tentacle sitting off by itself.
All right. Jasira dashing through the city streets invisibly. We come back to this moment of tension. Boko, as you're standing there with the shield out and just watching as this orc had cut down Rhea as she went to strike at the mage, and suddenly Drago comes in trying to scream and diffuse this, you feel the calm emotions drop your state. You now feel this indifference towards them where there once was strong hostility. And seeing Rhea kind of rising up from the ground, there's this moment of clarity that comes to your mind. How are you reacting?
I hope that the two people that are facing off against me are a little bit confused and wondering if Boko's fallen for the spell or not, because his face does not change even remotely.
They are confused, and their attention for the moment, however fleeting it might be, is on Drago as he's calling this out.
Yeah, Boko is just going to say, "Release Roland. One of our friends is being hunted, and we need to find her before she is found by something else."
And you watch as Drago kind of nods towards where the mage is at, and calls out just, "Laren, listen to them. We need to work together. Whatever this is, it was not for their fault." And the mage kind of looks back for a moment, but you see as that arcane energy just kind of disperses around Roland as he's hamster balling and kind of was like just about to get to the door, and is just kind of dumped out a little bit and catches himself on his legs and just kind of dusts off his shoulder.
Yeah, Boko is just going to shout to Roland, "Roland, go find him."
Yeah, as soon as I pop out of the bubble, back up looking through, because I figured the bubble is blocking any
Yeah, and the mage looks over.
magical...
"Leopold, go with him. Make sure that he doesn't try to escape from us." And the orc just kind of gives a gruff nod and kind of begins to jog after where Roland is rushing out. And the mage kind of stays with Drago looking at Boko, still kind of in this defensive position as Rennie and Rhea are kind of caught here. Rhea kind of slowly coming up to her feet with Rennie's help. "What happened? What was going?" And Laren is just like, "They had some sort of staff that they were pointing at the crowd. I just wanted to make sure that they were safe, and then this one tried to stab me and is bleeding out of his leg as he moves a hand down to try and massage where he's at, and is kind of slowly sitting down onto the ground."
You don't want to shanked me.
Yeah.
I'll give him a healing word, Band-Aid.
Sure, go for it.
I'm not used to being on the same side as the guards. That's on me.
Oh.
For the record, Boko was indifferent to this man's wound even before the spell.
Cold.
You is not my concern.
It was a Band-Aid, nothing more. That's all I've got, bro.
Drago kind of looks at everyone kind of here in the various states of wounded and chaotic nature of what has just happened. Just, "I don't know what is going on in this city, but I don't believe that any of us here had anything to do with it. It's far away and look to be... You all are new heroes. Perhaps you can work with Mr. Kivahaw here and with Mr. Barris the orc that ran out as your friend. Let us work together to find whatever it is. You said, and he looks over at Boko. Roland was saying that you had a friend who was being hunted?
Boko looks skeptical at this individual. He doesn't know if he wants to share any more than that. He'll just say,
This is the dude who ran the party.
Yeah.
I know, I still don't trust him. Boko will just say, regardless of what anyone thinks, something has happened. We are not going to learn what it is from in here.
Well, let us come with you. Let us help.
I do an insight check on this guy.
Sure. And I'll say, as you're kind of doing that, Master Kivahol is one of the mages of the guilds that protects the town. And Barris is a paladin of the sovereign host. They are not here to hurt. They are trying to protect the people. And you all are adventurers who have shown yourself through your work with the hospice to be of the best interest of this town and city. If your friend is in trouble, let us help, and maybe it is related, or maybe we can just find out whatever is going on. And Boko, you see sincerity and you see truth behind this. If there is any ulterior motive, whatever is being said is forthright and is insistent. And from Drago's actions, you know that he was trying to absolve and keep order from what was very quickly going to deadly chaos.
Is everybody on the team ready? Is Theschault fully dressed?
Yeah, the Schalt is kind of here. He's already rushed in. He kind of just got to this action as all of this was happening. Rhea is being helped up by Rennie, and Roland is already out on the streets.
Yeah, I'm armed up though. We're ready to go if we need to.
Roland is on the streets. Yes. There's a terrifying thought.
With his staff.
What about?
And everyone's on edge.
Buck will say, fine, let's go.
All right.
And we're going to make a break for the door.
Yeah. And Roland, go ahead and give me a perception check or a survival check at advantage again, as you and Leopold Barris are the first two out of the door.
Grr.
Yeah, you look around, and even outside of the barrier, you're still struggling to see that pulse. You know it's been precious moments that are lost, and who knows how many streets away they are. You know Jasira can run fast.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to turn from the hunter's mark of like scanning through looking for that arcane glyph. I'm going to turn to looking for signs of passage. I'm looking for prints. I'm looking for someone getting dragged, someone running.
Yeah, give me another investigation here. This one is going to be at disadvantage just because there were numerous people that were doing that, and you're trying to find the right one.
Okay. Could it be flat because of the advantage that the spell gives?
No, because it specifies survival and perception, unfortunately.
Unpredictable ways.
Okay. Yeah. That is true, but I think for what you're doing, you're not using the scope anymore. You're trying to look and utilize. You tried to use the scope, it failed. Now you're relying on your natural abilities here.
Oh, right. Fuck. Roland's
and my natural abilities at disadvantage are better than the scope at advantage, so let's go.
Well, unfortunately.
Last words.
Yeah.
Also, incidentally, it was the same two dice.
Yep, I'm looking at
a 5 and an 8.
Roland, you look around and you see dozens of traces of prints and boots and cart marks and the arcane vehicles that are all headed in different directions. Most of which are trying to make it down this central passage, and I'll actually move you all back to the map. So you all are on the far western side of the city up at Fairwinds, and you are seeing that most people are kind of moving down this cliff ride back towards the main streets, but some are kind of just going off into the city itself. And it's incredibly difficult to try and find what prints are Jasira's. Even knowing like the size, it would take you a while to differentiate between all the traffic that is coming here. However, thinking through, you know that there are certain places that Jasira would be likely to go. There are certain places that you all are familiar with. You have the Seventh Eye, you have the Hospice, and outside of that, there's really not that many places that you all are familiar with. And so the number of directions that she could head that she would feel safe in are relatively low. And so you just kind of using that, give yourself a direction. You know that she, with the seeing the arcane wheel that Alistair is still at, kind of still parked, you know that she likely went on foot and kind of headed in the direction of those two things. And so you turn directly to the due east to try and give yourself at least a heading.
Okay.
And for, we'll say at this point, as you all are trying to track through the city, and Jasira is just trying to escape, but with the invisibility, Jasira, whatever's hunting you doesn't seem to catch up. As we turn the page through this chase or through this hunt or tracking, eventually, Jasira, you reach the edges of the Hospice and you see those tall armored guards standing outside of it. The streets are still kind of somewhat tense, and the people that you have passed while invisible are all kind of maneuvering from one place to another quickly. Most people are inside, locked away, trying to be in their houses, trying to find what safety and security they can. And these two guards here do seem to be a bit on edge as you watch from the shadows here.
If she can, I think she'll probably not approach them. But if she does feel a moment of security, she'll probably try to find her own little, I guess not quite an alcove, but just something where like there's a wall behind her. She's kind of hid in the shadows. She's gonna like slump down and just kind of just everything just fatigues. She like just everything goes limp and tries to let the adrenaline leave her system.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me another wisdom saving throw, Jasira. And Roland, as you're trying to lead this tracking through, you can either give me that perception or survival at advantage, or you can just give me a flat investigation check.
I will go with the flat investigation. I don't know if I've rolled above a 10 tonight.
A 21 is still high, though. And as you've given yourself this heading, eventually...
I did. I rolled above a 10 on the Arcana check to determine that I was in fact fucked.
As you've maneuvered through these streets, kind of in the direction that you know Jasira or believe Jasira would head, you eventually do find some semblance of discernible tracks. Eventually, as it breaks away from the crowd, you find something that is akin to what you know to be the size of Jasira's footprints. And you see two sets that kind of crisscross back and forth nearby. You see these multiple times. You know that there was someone following after for some reason or another. It doesn't seem like they were tracking directly on Jasira's path, but they seem to be wavering, kind of headed in the right direction and occasionally finding it the same way that you are.
I will continue following the path, and if they ever diverge, I will take a closer look.
Okay, they frequently diverge, again, as they're losing the path and trying to recover it. Can you give me more context? Like, are you looking...
As in, they come to a fork in the road, and one set of tracks goes right, and the other set goes left.
Okay. I will do my best with that. I understand what you're trying to ask for.
The way that you described it is that they're both going in the same general direction. If one of the sets of tracks changes
Veers
direction,
off. Yep. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I'm trying to figure out narratively how to get that, but
Yeah.
we'll get to it. I understand the intent. Jasira, as you're sitting kind of at the hospice, you feel your heart racing, and as your eyes close, you just feel like these whispers are coming upon you. That same feeling that you got with the gilded man all around. You feel almost as if you're back in that dream with that mask just staring into you. You feel this coldness of the stone at your back. You're trying to tell yourself that you're okay, and yet it's a struggle. It's difficult to fight against the nature that you have, and this fear is threatening to overtake you constantly. Go ahead and give me another wisdom save here, this time at disadvantage.
Oh, she's gonna go crazy.
Poetic, if nothing else.
She gonna go crazy.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
All right. Roland, as you are tracking through, go ahead and give me one additional investigation check here.
Alrighty.
Still kind of helping with the guidance, still trying to tracking in this general direction. Ooh, there we go.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Um,
That's what I expect for.
these paths are mostly in the edges and these dark streets. Where there's not a whole lot of foot traffic, and you begin to find where these patterns become more consistent, and where the double set of footprints that we're following Jasira's becomes more erratic. They move in different directions. They come back. They crisscross. You can tell that Jasira lost the pursuers at one point, and for a while you think that she lost you too, and it's difficult to find. But eventually you do find, as her footprints continue on, extremely difficult to determine, but with your close eye you kind of sense and see that they're still moving in the direction, now firmly headed towards the hospice and not on the northern path towards where the seventh eye is. You also can tell that while there is some time spent crisscrossing and moving back and forth of those two pairs, eventually they do kind of head off in another direction towards the south. So one is headed east towards the hospice and one is headed somewhere towards the south. And at this point you are moving in a group with Leopold Barris, Laren Kivahal, and the rest of your party, and Drago Sarhain, who are all kind of trying to help you.
At the divergence point, I'm going to pop up the scope again and scan and see if the eye gives me one last hope.
Sure, give me another check at advantage, either perception or survival here.
Can I give him a flash of genius as well?
Sure.
Since I'm now here. We're going to turn that 19 into a 26.
Yeah.
Thank you. Holy balls. What?
Yep.
As a big boost.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Mine is my auxiliary.
And
Thank you, Roland, for doing surgery on me, by the way.
Those surgery checks came in clutch. As you look down, and with kind of this amplification on this eye, as you have Boko there kind of channeling his own magic into it, you see kind of no longer a pulse, but kind of this arcane footprint on top of one of the sets of these footprints that is headed to the
Is it the ones
south.
going south?
Yeah.
So I figure Boko's right fucking there. I'll talk to him and just go, which one did you mark?
Boko, you just know that you marked somebody.
Yeah, I do not know. I saw somebody who was chasing after Jasira.
But you marked them and not Jasira.
Yes.
I believe Jasira is headed to the hospice. She will be safe there, yes?
No. Something is in her mind.
No.
Yeah, this is news to Roland, actually.
She gonna go crazy.
Yeah, and Theschault too, because Theschault, all he knows is that I told him to hold under Jasira and not let go.
Yeah, so this will be very good to know.
Boko will say, Jasira came to me at the party, and there was true fear in her eyes, as if she were being hunted by something. Something that she could see, but no one else. And it was then that I saw that there was some kind of magic she had been afflicted by. It was within her. It seems someone has enchanted her. But that is all I know. But what she is feeling is real.
Then someone should continue following these footprints towards the hospice. Everyone who wants to fight, come with me.
I'm just gonna take a step towards Roland. We'll certainly have to see. Somebody will have to keep an eye on you, huh?
Perhaps Clyde and I should go to the hospice to try to talk Jasira down.
Ray,
What
are
about
we fighting or hiding?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I have two sets of skills. This one's just more applicable for right now. Running the rest of the team should, well, probably mostly Brenny and Clyde, God forbid, should be able to help out with calming her down.
Nope.
You all
Clyde's busy.
look around and you're like, where is Clyde at?
Clyde is spent this entire time getting to know a new bard friend.
Oh dear.
Oh wait, Clyde's
Well,
not
Brenny can help out.
Clyde is
then.
not here.
No,
Really?
Clyde is not there.
Damn, I'm just signing myself up to make charisma checks, aren't I?
Clyde saw that there was an explosion and was like, no, I gotta leave. That's what you do when there's explosions at the party. That means the party's done.
Yeah, cool guys don't look at explosions. They just turn and walk away.
Quickly, with the crowd.
And it's at this point that you all hear another distant kind of blast of flame and fire and see light across the skyline.
I just rebuilt those. Stop knocking down my towers.
Boko,
Seems as though
Don't take-
somebody's coordinated tonight.
Boko, don't take this the wrong way, but you're not the best at making people feel better. I think you should come with me and fight. Also, you still have in my rifle.
Yeah, every time you look down the sight, it feels like you're making eye contact with somebody, by the way.
Oh, it's my least favorite
does it-
feeling.
Does it wink?
Uncomfortable eye contact.
And I'll
It's my
say
least favorite feeling in the world. I
at
don't
this
like
point,
eye contact.
Drago will kind of speak up, and if Jasira needs some help, I can try and go to the hospice and look for her. Leopold and Laren, you two should try and get to the bottom of whatever malpractice is going on in the city. Go with Roland and whoever else is looking to try and find these individuals and put a stop to whatever it is that they are up to. If they were trying to hunt one of the heroes of the hospice, they are no friends of ours.
Thank you.
Roland, I must insist. I need to go to the hospice.
Well, then what
At
do
the
I do
very
with
least-
your thing?
It will hold on to the gun. Do not lose it. At the very least, if I can talk Jasira into calming down, perhaps I can find reinforcements at the hospice, and we can follow you.
Fine. Let's go. And he's going to take off to the south, following that set of footprints.
All right, and
And
Leopold.
using a combination of foot tracks and then occasionally popping up, checking, making sure the direction makes sense.
Yeah. Leopold, Barris, and Laren Kivahal, the mage and the orc, will kind of follow after. For Theschault, Rhea, and Rennie, what are the three of you doing? Are you headed with Boko and Drago, or are you headed with the party chasing these footprints?
I kind of have skills applicable.
Let's go for the footprints.
Yeah. I get. You know
Yeah,
what?
Ray is gonna be in the chase party as well.
I think I would actually, because we're all together still before we split up.
Mm-hmm. You guys are choosing which way you want to head.
I think I'd actually ask Roland. Just, Roland, look, I kind of have a mixture of skills that could help either side here, but I feel like you know a lot more about, well, we talked about it. This is dipping more back into the Undercity. The party stuff was more my spiel.
You need to
So-
move quickly and quietly. And if Jasira is still in trouble, she's going to need a very loud protector.
Fair enough. So I guess I will go with the group that's going to Jasira.
All right. Theschault, Drago, and Boko begin to head towards the east. The rest of you head towards the south.
You're welcome, Boko. I've saved you.
You're the reason we're chasing Jasira in the first place.
Excuse me.
You had one job.
You're excused.
I'm
No.
was.
He was trying to keep Clyde under control. He failed in that one too.
Oh.
I just want to say, I thought I was gonna. I played the game. I was like, Theschault, hold my ice cream. I'll be right back. I got shit on. Somebody laughed at me, and I turned around. And you threw my ice cream on the ground. I was like, what the fuck? I'm having a bad day.
Oh, God.
So what I'm
I
hearing is you really
understand.
wanted to lick Jasira.
What?
Well, yeah. What?
I mean, have you seen Jasira?
My interests are purely scientific.
Oh god. I'll write it up to you, Boko. I'm sorry.
That's funny. Okay, so tracking team first.
Sorry, Bree.
As Roland, you've got a bit of time left on this. Are you relying on your natural abilities, or are you still trying to use the scope? You kind of found some of the footprints, but the scope does help kind of highlight which ones Boko had marked.
Combination of both. Of like, I'll track the prints anytime that it's not abundantly clear what the prints are. I'll use the scope.
Okay, I'll say in this instance,
Sometimes the prints are a symbol.
Wow.
you can go ahead and make me an investigation check at advantage here.
All right. All
right. Another good check as you begin to maneuver down lower into the city. You pass through the castle ward, moving from a lot of the nicer inns of town towards where the lower middle class lives, and where these buildings are stacked upon one on top of the other. It becomes harder and harder to track as they move from the streets up into the various different platforms and walkways, and you begin to try and find any sign of pieces or signs and any type of arcane marks as you track them further and further. They pass along the castle ward and into the lower dock wards. You pass the large castle up on the hill. You see Griffin riders responding as multiple fires have broken out onto the north of the side of the town. And you make it down into the dock ward. Go ahead and give me one more investigation check. This one just flat.
Alrighty. Oh, it bounced off the 20.
As you find your way in towards this dock ward, it getting harder and harder to track, and eventually these footprints or these signs, you're unable to tell if these two are traveling together or if you're tracking one. You focus on the one that has this arcane mark, but eventually the arcane mark does fade, and as well as Boko's magic ceases. and you eventually get to the spot where you know the approximate area. And I'll go ahead and move the party marker down just so you understand where we're talking about. So down on the southwestern side of the city in the dock wards, you know kind of where they were headed and where they broke, and you've kind of got it to this quadrant of streets between Snail and Wastrel Alley, where you know they're likely somewhere in this space, but finding the exact spot is like finding a needle in a haystack. And even with your proficiency in tracking, it will take time to find exactly where they were, and it will take more than just tracking. It will take inquiries and observation, and so you know a space to begin looking, but it's gonna be something that takes some time.
Is this anywhere near? Whose territory is this? Sweetie's? Is it the Zentarum? Is it?
So I'll say that much of the northern portion of the city is what is typically seen as the Zentarum or Zentarum's territory, where a lot of the wealthy individuals and nobles are. And kind of past the south side, once you get towards the City of the Dead, that's where Sweetie is trying to make space. But you know that there was someone already there. And that was kind of the one that Sweetie had indicated last, that there was going to be some sort of climax with them, that you should keep your head low because they were potentially looking to expand again with help.
All right. Who's with me again?
I am,
Yeah.
and I stop us for a second, and I start to tell a story. And again, like, this story doesn't seem like it has much to do with anything, but it's like how, like, Grandma found, like, something that was lost after a whole long time looking, and if you just keep at it, it'll all work out. And I'm gonna give you enhance ability, Roland.
Thank you. For which one? For which ability?
What do you most need to help find the lost thing?
So right now, you've tracked them to an area that you feel confident they are at, but it's typically time-consuming to try and find exactly where they are. And so you could go through multiple different methods. You could try and enhance charisma to, if you're trying to inquire from people who live here. You could enhance perception or survival or investigation if you're trying to set up a multiple day stakeout or things like that. Or if you have another method that you're trying to do.
I'm pretty good at talking to people. What do you want help with?
So that's why I'm asking who all is with me.
You have Rennie and Rhea, and you have
Not worried about them.
the two new folks, Kivahal and Barris.
Kivahal and Barris, and who are they with?
So
What organization?
Laren Kivahal is one of the mage protectors, who are essentially guards, but arcane guards. And Leopold Barris is a paladin of the Sovereign Host.
Okay. So I need to send them somewhere else if I really want to do my plan.
Wow.
And they've been just kind of following along and observing for the most part. You see Kivahal has been casting a few spells to try and do his own sort of divination. And occasionally they've been somewhat helpful, but for the most part, you've been leading this, Roland, clearly having an advantage in this skill over them.
I would say charisma because I'm gonna need to start doing some crowd work.
All right, take it. I'll help you.
And yeah, you'll be great at. We're gonna go play good cop, bad cop.
Let's go. I'm so good.
Because I'm a fucking nasty ass bad cop.
All right, let's do it.
And so I'm gonna ask the two of them to like basically hold and watch at the place where we start to lose the tracks, because I don't want to lose the last known point of the trail. And the two goody two shoes, and to ask around that general area, and I'm gonna push in and fan out with Rhea and Rennie to start asking questions amongst the underlife.
And the half-orc Leopold kind of looks at you. If for any reason we get separated, is there somewhere where we can come and meet up with you all again?
Shh. I mean, we've got a shop.
They're gonna walk in on Clyde.
If it's in the next couple of hours, I would say right here at this spot. If it's tomorrow, the 7th Eye in the Trades Ward or in the North Ward?
It's in the North Ward.
In the
Whatever
Troll
your
Skull
needs
Alley?
are.
Yep, it's Troll Skull Alley.
Okay. The 7th Eye in Troll Skull Alley. We have a shop. That's the name of our shop. That would be a long-term meetup place.
Good luck to you all. Let us know if we can assist.
Thank you. We will come back here and look for you, and
Try to
he'll kind of like look up and
friends.
down. He'll kind of look up and down the massive hulking figure with a great sword and go, "You're hard to miss in a crowd. I'll find you."
All right, and as the three of you begin to do crowd work, describe to me what that looks like.
Well, I'm the good cop, so I introduce myself as Reddy and ask if anybody's seen our friend and what direction they might have went and if they know anything that could help us. And I just be very persuasive and positive and polite and just see if there's anyone who maybe knew something and is just like inclined to help a little hobgoblin out.
And I'm watching in the background, trying to gauge responses using my shit like insightful manipulator and know their strengths in order to determine if they're high charisma and likely to be able to bluff their way out of shit. And kind of just using every tool I can to gauge a response in the background, and then if someone's being full of shit or hiding something, I'm gonna move in and show them my scars and ask if they want a matching set.
Yeah, why don't the two of you go ahead and both make me charisma checks of your choice, so persuasion or intimidation, or deception, I suppose, at advantage for each of you. So each of you roll a check at advantage of one of those three.
As they talk to people, can I explore the roads we're on and look for hiding places, and just check for or hiding people anyone in the shadows?
Yeah, give me an investigation check at advantage as well. So we'll start out with Rhea. Rhea, you've for the most part stuck to areas that Sweetie is confident in, and for the most part that's within the trades ward. Sweetie still doesn't have a whole lot of influence across multiple wards of the city or multiple areas, and so the dock ward is somewhat unfamiliar to you, and this whole area is drenched in poverty. And there are so many hiding places and back alleys and dark corners that it is just overwhelming, the options that you have, where it's not the lack of things to see, but just how many there truly are. And so you begin to just look under places and rocks, and you come across numerous things that are not what you're looking for and are maybe not what you were hoping for. There are all sorts of debaucherous activity and back alley deals and anything that can be imagined in the darkened corners of this city that no one really wants to talk about. And this city, especially here, has been built on top of itself so many different times that it feels like multiple cities that you are trying to maneuver through and guide through and understand, and it almost feels hopeless for a moment for you as you're looking. However, Rennie and Roland have make significant progress as you're maneuvering through the sections of the city and interrogating individuals. These individuals are easily persuaded. They are not of strong mind or will. They are down on their luck. They are constantly taken advantage of by those who are in better positions, and certainly have no ability to stand up to your intense presence from the both of you in very different ways, but intense nevertheless. And as the two of you begin to do this canvassing of this space, you begin to close in on the areas that you believe these figures to be in and learn more information. And we'll get to that in a little bit. In the meantime, we'll come back to the other three of you, Theschault, Drago, and Boko, as you are headed towards the hospice. The three of you arrive there. It's now deep into the night, and fires are raging in multiple places across the city. As you get to the hospice and look around, you see the heavy armed guards out front, but don't see any sign of Jasira. What are you doing?
I'm still wearing my shield because I still don't trust this Drago guy yet.
Fair. I'm just gonna look down to Boko. Boko, I thought you said she was supposed to be here.
To be fair, Roland said that she was going to be here.
I thought you kind of knew the hospice better.
Perhaps we should just ask then.
Fair enough.
We'll walk up to the guards and just say, Jasira, the moon elf that usually accompanies us. Have you seen her?
No, she hasn't been by tonight. Is everything all right? Master Alistair hasn't come back yet, and we've seen the flames.
Alistair has not come back yet. To be fair, we move much quicker than he does.
Right.
If he is not back here by the morning, come to our shop. Let us know.
Of course.
And if you see Jasira, approach her with caution. But let us know as soon as you can.
As you wish.
And Boko will look at Theschault and they'll say, if she did not want to be seen, they would not have seen her. But there is a chance she could have left something behind. We should spread out and take a look.
I have a question beforehand. Why didn't you tell me about this? I would have probably abandoned my armor in that case if it was really that important. I get it, but like, I don't know, man. It's like we've been through enough.
I do trust you, Theschault. It is not anything to do with that. It is only that I had found out mere seconds before the spotlight had shone upon me, and I was set to turn in this coin.
That's all right. I'll just have you owe me a drink or something. How about that?
Boko kind of cracks a half smile and he goes, I actually can make pretty good drinks.
Hmm.
Like holding
It's
out
kind
on
of
Clyde.
off-putting the way he says it. Wait, you've seen some of the stuff that Boko's made. It's like black tarry.
Yeah,
I made pretty good drinks.
Tilt my head, think for a second. Well, for what it's worth, I've probably had worse. I'll have to try some.
And then, yeah, Boko's gonna take a quick peek and see if he can, see if Jasira has tread anywhere nearby.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check. And kind of, as you guys had your side conversation and now looking around, Drago kind of looks over at the two of you. Is there anything that I should know about Jasira, what's going on? Any way that I can help? I've got some arcane skill from the sovereign, or from the Silver Flame.
Well, Boko, do you think it'd be helpful?
Boko is going to take off his friendship sweater. And he's going to hand it to Drago. He's going to say, "This is something that Jasira spent many days making. She weaved some of her own magic into it. Perhaps you can learn more about her through this, or track her some way."
Smell.
Boko does not know how arcane magic works.
Ah, something I actually have a little more expertise in. I don't know the nature of this thing that's apparently among her mind.
Something is on her mind.
Apparently.
The working theory.
I have found that his theories do tend to be fairly accurate.
Boko, you look around for some time, and directly at the hospice, you don't find any signs of Jasira. But you spend more time trying to expand, moving in kind of larger and larger circles around it, and eventually you come upon this spot where you see these strange markings. It looks like where someone was at, but you see kind of finger marks in the mud and dirt and grime around this back corner. You see just pacing back and forth. You see twisting, and you see what almost looks like marks in some of the stone. And it looks like someone just tore into this space in one way or another.
Is this kind of like when Roland turned into a werewolf?
No, this is much... Excuse me. This is much less monstrous and more madness.
That's encouraging.
More scribblings.
Yeah, these aren't bestial claws. These are someone just scratching and clawing and running and moving and backtracking.
This is like pure fear.
Likely, yeah.
Now that Boko kind of has some kind of track, he's going to call over Drago and Theschault and draw their attention to it. He's going to say, "What do you make of these?"
This was her.
I do not know, but it was something.
If you would like, I can reach into the ground and try to connect to the aspect of when she was here. Give us a sense if things are good or bad with her.
Boko nods. How long will you need?
Only but a moment. And he reaches down towards the dirt and kind of takes out of his pocket this small candle and begins to just float the candle across the marks on the ground. And you see as it flits back and forth from this dark red flame to this bright blue. This is a bit strange. I expected the bad, but there's also good here. Weal and woe.
Interesting.
I can attempt to locate her, but if she is not in relative proximity, it may be ineffective.
I mean, don't get me wrong, she's fast, but can she really have gotten, well, that far?
You would be surprised what someone in the grips of fear can do, especially if she is being traced by something.
That's fair. Well, I suppose we could be dealing with some rather strange foes here. What will it take for you to try it out?
Well, I have all the needs here. It is just, well, it will just take some time, a few moments, if you have it. But I don't know if we have a better idea.
Boko?
That is fine. I will keep looking.
Right.
Do what you need to.
Jasira, can you go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw? This one flat.
There was a language.
Certainly try.
There was a language that both Jasira and Boko spoke, but I forgot what it was. It wasn't Elvish, but it was either like a bit.
Hey, there it is.
Ayo. She knows Common and Elvish, so
I thought she knew something else.
she knows Voodoo.
Hoodoo?
What a coincidence.
Voodoo.
Archbishop Harold Holmes.
You remind me of a man.
What man?
Good reference.
Oh no! Now it's gonna be in my head tonight.
So, as Drago kind of takes this moment to try and reach out and locate Jasira, the rest of you, or Rennie and Roland, the two of you have been looking through these spaces and trying to find any sign of unsavory figures. And at first, it's defiance among these individuals who live in the docks, and then kind of seeing the happy smile or the intense defiance of Roland, they quickly cave, and you are quick to manipulate the people of this space with, again, relatively weak minds comparatively to some others, and they begin to describe where they might think that individuals could be, and you cut down on some of the spaces that are known to be well guarded, well lit, have frequent patrols, and you know that the main alley, this gut alley kind of through the center, and Adder Lane are one of the most patrolled sections, as the Dockward has issues with crime, and not likely a spot that someone outside of a common criminal would lie. You also find out about a few different places of interest here. There is a courier office here in town. And on the south side of this portion, there's also one of the guild halls, the Metal House of Wonders. And this Metal House of Wonders is one of the locations for the Splendid Order of Armorers, Locksmiths, and Finesmiths. And that idea of locksmiths just gives you a bit of hesitation. Criminals being able to break into somewhere, being able to track, perhaps there could be some alignment there. They also mention of this place called the Copper Cup, this inn, tavern, and fest hall that is this multi-story warehouse that has been linked and converted into one of the busiest and most famous nightlife spots. And it's owned by their dancers who had kind of taken over from the previous management. And finally, the last place of interest is a place known as the Purple Palace. This is, for lack of a better term, a brothel or a fest hall. And it is well known as one of the nicer fest halls with a proper boudoir, and many nobles will be seen kind of traveling under the dark of night to get into this location. All three of those can have certain connections to the criminal underground. And I'll say from this first night of investigating, or from these first couple hours, in addition to finding those, you also are able to shrink some of the areas that you're looking for as well.
All right.
And so you've made progress in this, considerable progress.
Clyde's got the perfect outfit to sneak into the brothel as one of the
So
well,
Clyde
it's
is
part
going
of the
to be
menu.
going. Clyde is going to be going and checking out the.
He has a
Not that
full
church.
purple outfit.
Church.
The church?
We're sending Roland to the brothel so that we are sure no one will get distracted.
Do me a favor, Clyde, and seek Jesus.
Find
Last
the
time he went to a
host.
church, it ended in an orgy.
This is true.
Let's be clear here. Last time he went to a church, they already had the orgy prepared and waiting for him.
Also fair. Also fair.
Oh.
And so as you guys have spent these kind of hours checking and maneuvering with the people who are there, kind of giving your bits of intimidation or persuasion, it's now getting early into the morning and that exhaustion is starting to set in. It's probably 3-4 in the morning at this point. Are you guys trying to still continue the search, or are you trying to find somewhere to rest?
I think we've made good progress. One of the other things with Roland's making himself unusually visible in this process, one, because Rennie's walking up and saying, "Hi there!" and two, because he knows that Sweetie's making a move in the area, and so he wants his face known.
Okay.
So that when if she wins, then as soon as he walks down these blocks, everyone as her enforcer, everyone already knows who he is.
Okay.
So scars on prominent display, not hiding, walking the streets, daring anyone to get in his way.
And so you said that you've made progress. Are you returning to the Seventh Eye, or are you finding somewhere to rest here?
I think we check back at where we told the folks to meet us, see if they're still there, get any progress report from them if they are, and if not, then go to the Seventh Eye, because that's where we said we'd meet them. It's always good to tell new friends. It's always good to follow up with new friends on where you say you'd be.
Yeah. After these few hours of maneuvering through, you see that the two figures are not there in the meeting point, but there is a young boy who's kind of, when I say young, a teenage boy who's kind of waiting there under one of the lights and kind of looking around nervously. And Roland,
I'll
you immediately
walk straight up to him.
Yeah, you
Roland
immediately
Robin.
eye this as one of the couriers.
What have you got for me?
Oh, yes. And he just hands the letter to you, and it's quickly you can see kind of a note from Laren Kivahal, the mage, saying that they'd be by to visit the Seventh Eye tomorrow, and we're off to investigate other leads and the fires that were breaking out.
Fair enough. How long is it till a reasonable morning hour?
It's like 3-4 in the morning, so a couple hours
Okay.
maybe.
Then we should probably get to the Seventh Eye now, so that if someone calls early, we're there.
Okay. So you guys will begin to head up in that direction. For Jasira, as this fear had gripped you, these nightmares becoming manifest, you begin to lose yourself in what is a dream, a nightmare, this twisted reality of things that are overpowering Jasira's emotions. In these moments, what are the greatest moments of fear or apprehension that Jasira has experienced recently?
Well, the main one probably would be, I guess the most recent would be the latest dream state interaction with the Gilded Man, where he said that not only was Tove his, but she was as well. Yeah, I guess otherwise, depending on how recent we want to go, I would argue the death of her brother was probably the next most recent big one.
And then for the opposite side, for this dream-like state, what are the moments where Jasira has felt interested, elated, excited recently?
The death of her brother and the nice odd twist of fate. Knowing that she was somehow good enough, even though she wasn't supposed to be. And getting Boko back, because that's the first friend we really lost. And so to see that he wasn't actually lost after all was definitely a high point.
As this darkness once again just takes over around you, you fight these visions, try to untangle the different aspects of dream from nightmare. You find more and more that you are lost to this darkness, that this place is taking over your mind, where it had been controllable, it is now chaos. These moments of elation, these moments of despair move between one another freely and fluently, and you find them difficult to discern. You hear this voice, these shadows just echoing after you. This idea of the golden gilded mask chasing after. And there is just an overpowering feeling of being hunted, of being controlled. You shake your head and try to catch your bearings, but you can hear that voice around you. You can hear those words that claiming to be yours, and you try and snap back through these moments of pain and power. That moment where you stood above your brother, watching the life drain from his eyes. And you flash to see the moment when you lost Boko. That same life leaving. Not even something that you witnessed, and yet something that you felt as you were running. Always running, even now pushing faster, faster, and faster. You're trying to escape this control, escape this place, and yet you can't. You still feel like you are playing in someone else's story. And then there are these moments of elation. These moments where you find happiness. These bits of dream and darkness that splay open in front of you as you're thinking about your brother, as you're thinking about death, as you're thinking about pain. You feel your muscles on fire as that power had surged through you. That moment where the soul of your brother was claimed, where you took on that knowledge and that power and that purpose. You feel something similar to when Boko had passed, that aching, and yet seeing him return, seeing that power come to him, you felt as kindred spirits who danced on the edge of death. You struggle again and again to try and untangle these pieces. You see Boko's body up and moving. You feel yourself dancing. You remember the dance with Boko, and suddenly the gilded masks are there dancing around you. You feel it twisting into other moments of happiness. Sitting by the campfire, talking with the other companions, the dance with Drago, all of these shifting and blending together in this moment of pain, of fury, of fire. You try to fight against that control, and that heat builds to a point that it bursts and the darkness shatters, and you are thrown forward into open ground around you. Cool stone under your hands and knees. You're in this torn dress. Everything feels different here. You're dressed in a gown of red and black glamour weave, better suited to the ballroom than the battlefield. Illusions here have been woven into the cloth, giving these red pigments this liquid intensity of fresh blood. Red leather covers your arms and legs, these thigh-high boots stretched up beneath your skirts, and gloves that run past your elbows. The fingertips of these gloves are open, revealing these long, curved nails painted with black enamel. The only familiar aspect of the scene was this pain that you felt, emanating from somewhere within you. This heat on your back. Everything is different, and yet somehow it's familiar, like you have been here before. And there is this sound, this clanking beside you, and you turn to find a man wearing full armor, clutching this long sword in an outstretched hand. He's sprawled on the ground, this beautiful armor covered with mud and ash. The sound of the sword and the man's effort to maintain his grip on the hilt, not a preparation for attack. He coughs and you can smell the blood in his mouth. He's broken inside and he won't last much longer. Why? He croaks, and you find yourself wanting to help him, to ask him what happened, but you can't move. Your body is betraying you, acting with a mind of its own. Instead of insisting the injured man, you found yourself laughing at him, your lips twisting into a cruel smile. Because it amuses me. You can feel your mouth shaping the words, but you don't stop them. You're an observer in your own body, and this is your body. You walk towards this fallen soldier, and you can see details beneath the mud and grime. This soldier's breastplate, emblazoned with an emblem of the goddess Dol'ara. This princely suit of armor, this raiment of a general or lord. As you draw closer, the man forces himself up on an elbow, an impressive feat given his injuries and the weight of his armor. He swung his blade in this low arc, putting all of the remaining strength into the blow, and your instinct is to leap back, but your body has other ideas, and this surge of energy flows through you. And you drop down, catching the blade with your hand. Despite the force of the blow and the razor edge of the sword, there is no pain, no blood. You feel the steel against your skin, and the stroke doesn't even cut the fine leather of your glove. You feel as if your muscles burning with this power that you can scarcely contain, and your hands close around the blade and tear it from the grip of the weakened soldier. This isn't about you, little prince. You place the heel of your boot against the knight's chest and push them down into the ground. I don't care about you or your kingdom. Fiend! The knight struggles as he's spent all of his strength on that last blow, and he can't even raise an arm. Funny, coming from you. I am no fiend. My kind bound the demons at the dawn of time, and I am more than any pathetic devil, and greater than any of your gods. She tosses the longsword into the air, catching this hilt in her hand and placing the point of the blade against the soldier's chest. It's at that point that the vision fades from you, Jasira. The blackness fades in this moment, and you can hear words. This vision, this dream, still ongoing as you try to cling towards it, but you can't. Instead, you're falling, flailing through the air as you drop towards the ground. And that's where we're going to go ahead and leave things off for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us in the aftermath of this wonderful gala. And we will rise to the new morning sun next time. We'll see you then.
This is why we don't go to your parties.